performance today, Tommy Browne. He's got the height advantage over Chris John. He's got a significant reach advantage, enormous reach advantage. Not much difference in the weights. But I guess, Jeff Fennick, that reach advantage is going to play very much in Tommy Browne's hands.
Yeah, well, if he gets behind that jab and the jab is hitting the target, it'll make it very, very hard for Chris John. But Chris has got a great eye, and I think that he'll be trying to slip the jab, make a miss, and then counterpunch. And if he does that, and he does that very well, Tommy Browne could be in trouble, because if you miss with the jab, that means you're going on to the punch of Chris John. And Chris John is a very, very talented guy in Australia. You're going to see that today, and he's got a great trainer, a great team in his corner with Craig Christian. So you're going to really see two classy guys at it tonight.
And Todd Maitland, of course, who does train Tommy Browne, you used to take care of.
Yeah, mate, I had the pleasure, the absolute pleasure of training little Todd Maitland, who always gave 120% every fight. And I know that Tommy Browne will be very, very similar to Todd today, and he'll go out there and give it his all. And I wish them both luck. I went there and I shook Todd's hand, and I really wish him luck, because he's been around the sport for a long time as a fighter, and now he's there as a trainer, and he's doing his best.
Jeff, you look at Australian boxing at the moment. We've had a couple of losses lately, but it's still looking extremely healthy, isn't it?
Oh, I definitely say, like Danny Green, he can beat anybody in the world. When Danny Green is mentally switched on for a fight, and anybody he can beat. Anthony Mundine, super talented guy who I've always just said if his preparation was better, he could be a great fighter. But yeah, those two guys, they're set to fight towards the end of the year or the new year. So look, Australian boxing fans have wanted that for a long time, so that's just around the corner. Look, Costa Zoo can come back without any doubt, move up a division and beat those champions. So yeah, boxing's very healthy at the moment. We've got Victor Archinian, who is world champion, and honestly, if you see this kid spar, the likes of Lovemore Nadu and Nadil Hussain and those guys, you think this kid could just be world champion for a long time. And then we've got Hussain as well, who's going over to fight Jorge Arce again in a rematch to one of the fights of the year. And if Hussain wins that fight, it's going to be great for Australian boxing, because that's going to get a lot of credibility to our sport.
Well, that Arce, I mean, that was an amazing fight by Hussain. He put up a tremendous effort. Sadly, he did lose in the end, but he took so much out of that fight.
Yeah, but he's better for that. Like I said, we're very, very confident going back over, obviously, in their backyard, but we're very confident of reversing the decision, Matthew.
All right, I think we're just about set for Tommy Browne to make his way into the ring. Huge focus forward here for him. It has to help him going into this contest. Browne has suffered a loss in his professional debut. 22 fights, 18 victories. Gets a 7 knockout, but as you saw those highlights again, he has a very good jab. And when he utilises that jab, he will need to do that today. And then to use his physical advantages in trying to offset the champion Chris John. Big moment here for him. Australia boxing. Hard to believe that a WBA World Championship fight is taking place here in the face of the Blue Mountains, Penrith Panthers. The gym is the real thing. Looking very relaxed. I guess nerves will be playing a part of this extent.
Yeah, I hope so, man. You hope because if you're nervous, that means you're ready. So, although he looks nice and calm, smiling, singing his song there, bouncing out, hopefully he's nervous and he's super early in this fight.
I'm sure he's a lot more relaxed than what he was last time fighting in Korea. In front of the very local crowd there. It's the opposite case here.
Really, it's funny, just go overseas, you have a fight over there, you lose the fight, and just open up doors for him. He can put on a great performance, and Tommy Browne done that.
I think he showed that he's very competitive no matter who he fought. He showed that he's genuinely world class. and it encouraged, of course, Tony Cardona and really to put up the cash and get Chris John over here to make a difference against Tommy Browne, because I feel that he's not that far off, and his last performance is becoming world champion. Maybe in a good girl. He's certainly got them as supporter of Penrith Panthers.
Penrith have done some great things for sport boxing over the last couple of years.
One very, very interesting thing that Tommy Browne still trying to capitalise on. Chris John was down in the first round of his last fight against Derek Smoke going caught him cold. That's what Tommy Browne's going to try and do in this fight.
Well, you got to know one thing. Derek Gaynor can punch.
Yeah.
He's a big, super tall featherweight as well, similar to Tommy Browne. Tommy with a great touch. Tommy doesn't have the knockout record that Derek Gaynor has.
Yeah.
Just delaying his entrance a little bit here.
You know, Tommy Browne, of course, we've been speaking about his fight with Injin Chi, but Chris John has fought some tremendous fighters over the last few years. He beat former world champs Osamu Sato and Ratanchai Silverapan. I mean, they're all quality fighters that he's been in there with, so he's certainly got that edge and experience. And of course, his last fight against Derek Smoke Gaynor, who had been a very, very good world champion for quite a while, and had been competitive against a lot of the top Americans over a number of years.
Craig Christian was telling me he's very, very popular in Indonesia. He can't walk down the street without being mobbed.
And isn't it also great to see an Australian trainer in his corner? You know, I've heard Paul Briggs a lot of times say that there's nobody in Australia who can train. The Australian trainers can't do this and they can't do that. But he's back here now training with one. But it's also great to just see that Craig Christian's been able to not just win the world title with Chris John, but defend it and do a great job for boxing.
Yeah, he's doing a great job over in Perth. He's got that huge star stable of fighters. And as we were saying earlier, he may have 2 or 3 world champions the way he's going.
Yeah, definitely. So Ben Rabar's got all the potential and ability in the world, and Craig Christian's doing a great job there.
Chris John is actually currently in dispute with his old manager, Suntan Rambing, and that is why he is fighting here in Australia. It's something to do with a contract dispute. Let's hope he can sort that out. This is a young man who gets in the ring and puts his life on the line every time he defends his title. He should be getting every cent coming to him. Just about to pop into the ring. I met him early today. Very relaxed, very quiet, very determined.
Ladies and gentlemen, could you please be upstanding for the national anthems of the relative countries, please? To sing the national anthem of Indonesia, put your hands together for Annie Blackensaw.
Indonesia, tanah airku, tanah tumpah darahku. Di sanalah aku berdiri, jadi pandu ibuku. Indonesia kebangsaanku, bangsa dan tanah airku. Marilah kita berseru, Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah tanahku, hiduplah negeriku, bangsaku, rakyatku, semuanya. Bangunlah jiwanya, bangunlah badannya untuk Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka,
Remain standing for the national anthem of Australia, ladies and gentlemen, sung today by Lauren Atkins.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing. Advance Australia fair.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and good afternoon. Right here at the home of boxing in the Wild West, Penrith, Panthers, home of entertainment. Sponsored by Extra Joss, and of course in association with Blue Corner and Blaster Promotions, present 12 rounds of boxing. World-class boxing for the featherweight championship of the world. Sanctioned by the WBA. Please, ladies and gentlemen, introducing now, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 56.55 kilograms from Campbelltown, Australia. Known to his friends as the Titan, he has 22 fights, 18 wins, 3 losses and 1 draw, 7 coming by way of KO, wearing solid black trunks with a yellow and white trim. Please welcome the challenger, Tommy Titan Browne. His opponent across the ring weighed in at 56.80 kilograms. He is undefeated in the last 2 years, 36 fights, 35 wins, 1 draw, 19 coming by way of KO from Indonesia, the champion Chris John. Officials at ringside scoring on a 10-pass mass system, ladies and gentlemen. Judges Shalom Praendisab, Michael Lee, Aseo Kazunobo. Referee in charge when the bell rings, Stanley Christodoulou. Ladies and gentlemen, those in attendance and those worldwide watching by Sky Channel, in the words of the great king, it's now or never. WBA World Featherweight Champion, 12 3-minute rounds when the bell rings. Let's get it on.
Right, to both of the rules, let's shake hands. Good luck to you both.
Short and sweet there from Stanley Christodoulou as we set ourselves for the WBA Featherweight Championship of the World. How exciting is this? Great atmosphere. The local crowd well and truly behind Tommy Browne. This is his moment of truth. 22 years of age, Chris John, 25. Already you can see the distinct height and reach advantage to the Australian fighter. He has to utilise that early. He has to establish himself in this contest. Both fighters exchanging jabs.
He's not overawed, is he? Tommy Browne, he's going to fight. He's right there in front of Chris John spearing out that left hand.
And you just don't want to hold him to do in the dressing room. Every time he's got hit you, you've got to hit him back, you've got to hit him more. And look, he has come to fight. It's good to see. But there's Chris John coming over the top of the jab with that right hand. Very skillful young kid, this Chris John.
It's evasive, isn't he? It's hard to nail.
Very good hand speed too. That's the thing Browne's going to have to be wary of with that jab. He doesn't want to leave it out there because he will be pounded over the top by John.
Some nice body work really by Tommy Browne, and it could, play in his favour in the later part of the fight.
Good work there from Browne, finding a home for the right hand.
Size difference is apparent, isn't it? He towers over Tommy Browne.
He sure does.
Nice jab there from John. That comes Browne. John looking very composed in the ring.
Todd Macklin just screaming at Tommy Browne, used his right hand over the top, but it was Chris John who fired off his right hand and connected.
Great defensive skills, Chris John. He used them gloves to catch those punches when Tommy Browne comes around the gloves.
Browne more than happy to mix it up with him, which is a good sign, I think, early on. Jeff, he needs to try and establish himself in this fight.
He has to show the guy that he wants to fight. Not only does he have to show that he wants to fight, but he has to hit the man and hurt the guy and give him his respect. And I think that he's done it the first minute and a half of the fight.
Nice work there from John up the middle. Nice counter right hand there from Browne. And stunned the champion.
Have a go, Tommy Browne. Goodness me.
Well, can he go on a career? Certainly he's done it.
Beautiful work. Great work there from Tommy Browne to win round number one. And he walks back to his corner very confident.
The last 30 seconds gives Tommy Browne the round as far as I'm concerned.
We could be watching a new world champion here. I know it's early days yet, but geez, full of confidence this kid, Tommy Browne, isn't he, eh?
Very exciting opening round there to the fight. You look at the record of Chris John, 36 fights, 35 wins. That's all round. A guy who's only had 22 fights, is 22 years of age. Made world title shot inside this year. You look back at some of the action and both men exchanging well.
Good right hand there by Tommy Browne over the top. I felt Chris John had the better of the early going in the round, but Tommy Browne come home fantastic over that last half minute, didn't he?
Who did he give the round to?
I think Chris John just, he did a lot of work for that first 2.5.
I think that last 30 seconds has really an impact in the judges' minds. I think it might go towards Tommy Browne.
It's also the crowd that cheer every time Browne lands, whereas there's not really any sort of reaction when Browne and John lands a punch. That's got to affect.
The one thing you will notice is this Chris John will not slow down, mate. He'll pick up the pace. If he thinks that round is close, he will pick it up. He'll finish straight at the punch. Here he goes.
This will be the test then for Tommy Browne. Can he go with the champion in terms of work rate?
And he punches from all angles, Chris John, around, up the middle, to the sides.
Chris John started boxing when he was 6. Got him into the sport. Counter work there from Browne. He's not afraid of his opponent, not at all intimidated by the situation. Good work there from John.
Terrific uppercut, isn't it, Chris John?
Very, very good uppercut. When he goes around the body, he brings a punch through the middle, very successful.
Browne caused the Korean champion all sorts of problems when he doubled up with the jab. This hasn't allowed him to do that so far. The fighter's keen to mix it up. Makes for a very exciting fight. Beautiful right hand.
Tommy Browne comes straight back with his own.
This is an exciting fight, isn't it? This Aussie kid has really come here to win the title. He's not overawed at all by the reputation of Chris John, undefeated in 36 fights.
Well, what an opportunity it is to become world champion at home. And it's not, look, not to disrespect any title, but it is the WBA. It's one of the major world boxing governing bodies. So if he gets this, it's going to give him a lot of credibility.
Both fighters maintaining a high work rate.
Beautiful jabbing by Chris John. He's got like 10 centimetres short reach, but he's really good jab.
He's just great on his feet, isn't he? In and out.
Just gets that distance and fires off that jab. Look at that. Tommy's taking the fight up there, the champion, but he's got to throw punches on the way in. That's what he has to do. As he gets square in the road, just to punch.
Savage exchanges there.
Big counter by Chris John in close there.
Well, neither fighter has been extended so far. Both men have landed some decent blows in the first 2 rounds.
There's a little bit of marking under the left eye, I think, or the right eye of Tommy Browne, so he's starting to land with that jab frequently, Chris John.
So, Jeff, who did you give that round to? They're competitive rounds, aren't they? Very close.
I think Chris John won that round. Although Tommy Browne was the aggressor, took the fight up to Tommy Browne, Chris John was just able to bring in one of the jab and counter punch him very well.
He's a bit more precise with his punches, isn't he?
Very much more.
Even in slow-mo, it looks pretty quick. They've both got amazing hand speed.
Well, these little guys, the featherweights, the bantamweights and the flyers have got great speed, and these kids are putting a great show on tonight.
Does it make you want to get back in the ring again, Jeff?
No.
The right hand, set it up, the right hand. Set up the right hand. All right? Breathe
Not
deep,
even
you all right?
Does it bring back fond memories?
Don't be in
mate,
front of
I
him,
love-
keep
I love
moving,
seeing
all right?
these kids
When he
go out there and give their all. This is what I love about this fight. There are 2 kids out there giving their all.
So far, it's lived up to the billing as a world title fight. It's the WBA Featherweight Championship. Chris John, the champion in the white and red, versus the challenger, Tommy Browne from Sydney, Australia.
That's better. Tommy's got to be first. He's come out this round being first, keeping Chris John off, you know. Nice look by Chris John.
Angles for himself too. Very awkward for Browne. He doesn't quite know where every punch is coming from.
It was beautiful. 3 punches over the top, rolled on the Tommy Browne's hook, come back with 2 more punches. Chris John's very experienced, very skilled.
Browne just falling short with that jab.
Starting to mark on the bottom of both eyes now, Tommy Browne.
Yeah, we saw him marked up badly in the fight against Injin Chi, but he hung in there. But not a good sign. Chris John's finding a home for that jab already.
So especially when the guys got 10 centimetres on reach.
That's right.
Popping that punch out, but Chris John is beating the jab with this. Only because Tommy Browne's waiting, Brantley. He's waiting to counter punch, but he should be first.
He's being kicked apart here in the third. He doesn't want to be standing in front of his man. He's just catching him all the time, straight up the middle too.
Chris John started out as a Kung Fu champion. You can see even a Bruce Lee move. He's very, very nimble on his feet.
It's a sustained attack. Doesn't want the champion to get too set.
That's more like, get that jab in.
Good work there again from Browne. He's becoming more heavily marked though as the round goes on. It's a bit of a concern so early in the fight.
He's just methodical, Chris John. He's there slowly chopping up the face of Tommy Browne.
Just always that just fraction out of the reach, isn't he? And then before you know it, he's striking with that jab and right hand.
Like a cobra.
Like a tiger.
Very, very accurate too.
Beautiful right hand by Chris John. Oh, his speed and timing is just beautiful. He just clears his speed right at the right time. He just bang out, lets their punches go. Just as Tommy Browne's going in. Yep.
The Kings of Boxing Out West, Alaska Promotions and Blue Corner. Tony Cameron and Nick Whitley. I'd like to thank you for coming along and supporting boxing. Right here. The Featherweight Championship, center ring.
Okay, we're looking now into the corner there of Tommy Browne. They're working away on what would be a major concern, I guess, Jeff, after 3 rounds, already to be swelling up under the eyes.
Yeah, definitely so. Like I said, Chris John is just right there at the right distance, waiting for Browne to miss and bring you on the little punches that aren't too hard. There's a lot of speed behind them, and I think looking at Tommy Browne's face now, he doesn't have that, enthusiastic look that he had at the end of round 1.
And we just saw there in the replay there was a slight head clash, so that wouldn't have helped his situation either. But after probably taking the first round on my scorecard too, Jeff, Tommy Browne, he's lost the last 2, and he's allowing Chris John to get more set in his attack.
Got a great eye, Chris John.
He's got to try and double up with that jab. He's got to have John on the back foot, back on his heels. Stage is just picking the Australian fighter apart.
I guess in the fight with Injin Chi, Tommy Browne didn't have to go looking for Injin Chi, did he? He was right in his face, whereas Chris John's a little more elusive. He's a little harder to play.
He's a smart fight. We just heard Tommy Browne, let me tell you. And this will not stop him, Chris John.
Browne's got to try and hold on here, I think. There's no point in trying to cover up.
As I said, Tommy Browne didn't look too keen at the end of round 3. He's starting to get hit and slowly out. Not one big punch, but volume of punches. Oh, right to the body. Beautiful. Double right to the body.
Variety in the attack too. He just doesn't know where the next punch is coming from. It's coming up the middle from the side, ripping to the body. He fights in perpetual motion, the Indonesian champion.
Well, I'm going to say it now in round 4 that Chris John and a Korean never stopped him, but I think Chris John will methodically tear this kid apart, and I think there might be a stoppage in the late round.
He's got to do something dramatic, turn things around, doesn't he? I mean, he had a good first round coming around, he got in the lane, but since Chris John has got his timing right, it's been one-way traffic, pretty much.
Tommy Browne's confidence is gone. He's trying hard, the kid, but he's really getting beat.
Like you said, Jeff, he just doesn't stop this Chris John. He has fought at the same pace basically since the opening round.
He just moves, gets in that position, and works.
He really needs to try and get behind Browne to lift him.
Another
Huge punch there.
Taking a lot of punishment, isn't he, Tommy Browne now?
Oh, these are sickening blows that are landing on the Australian fighter.
His face is a mess, Tommy Browne.
It's great to see that Craig Christian's done a great job with this kid, and for him to travel all the way from Indonesia to work at Harry's gym certainly speaks volumes for Harry's gym.
Browne just doesn't know where to find him. He can't set himself at all for any sort of attack. Watching a very classy fighter here tonight. The WBA featherweight champion. Another round in the bag for Chris John. He's won 3 straight. Our unofficial scorecard. And Tommy Browne needs to do something desperately to turn this fight around.
Yeah, when he walked back to the corner, he looked pretty despondent, guys. He got a little nod of the head as if to say, you know, gee, what do I have to do here to turn this around? Look, the kid will come out and try. You know what I mean? Everything that he's tried to do, Chris John's just counted. Look at him, left uppercut, left hook, right hand. He's got all the punches, this kid.
He's so versatile, isn't he? I mean, he throws big body shots and then back to the head, back to the body.
But isn't that great to see? Tell me the last fighter we've watched who works from the body to the head, from the sides to the middle like this kid. I haven't seen anybody do this for a long, long time.
Very, very well skilled.
He's so accurate too. He really doesn't waste any energy, and that is the sign of a class act.
That's because he puts himself in a position where he knows he's going to punch, and you know, to do that you've got to take a risk, but he backs what he's doing.
And he balances it so well with that elusive defence too.
Jab to the front of the glove, hooks around the glove. You know, this kid's a very, very smart thinking fighter.
What can Tommy Browne do, Jeff? He needs to try and at least double up with the jab.
Well, he has to double up with the jab, then he has to land a big right hand. He's got to stop. You know, he's got to do something to stop the onslaught at the moment, and to do that, he has to hurt Chris John.
He's doing his best to land him, but Chris John is just always at just a fraction of an inch out of range. And then before you know it, he strikes straight back.
Yeah, he's in and out there, exactly what you're saying. He's just out of distance, in distance, and out of distance. It's making it very, very hard for Tommy Browne to find him. Look at that.
It's amazing the hand speed there to be able to land both those punches. He could have actually gone over the top too if he wanted.
Yeah, and you've got to realise if it's right in range, it'll be touched, but his speed was so great, and the punches just had enough power to stop his opponent from hitting him.
Browne has been game, but so far outclassed. Featherweight championship of the world battle.
Ringside, of course, watching very, very closely. Anthony Mundine. I wonder if he's trying to pick up a few moves off Chris John. There's plenty of moves there to cop if he wants to.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Anthony learned from this kid is the consistency in which he throws punches. Anthony Mundine's got the great speed and skill as well. Similar to Chris John, but he just doesn't punch bunches like this kid does. He'll be watching now, and sure we'll be taking some lessons out of this kid.
Right hand, that sent him back on his heels.
That hurt Tommy.
How tough has Tommy Browne been so far? He has absorbed a lot of punishment in the last 3.5 rounds.
You're so right what you're saying, Jeff. I mean, this guy just does not take a break, does he? He's throwing punches through him every round.
I told him he'd be world champion and he kept that up. Not only is he proved me right, but he really won this. Look at Tommy Browne, what a tough kid.
Oh, he's trying so hard, isn't he?
He's really getting behind him all and walks into a huge punch. It really is his only hope at this stage. He's got to try and offset that and he can look for that one big lucky punch.
He's just so slick as Chris John, just always
Cool, calm and collected.
What about the defensive skills here? He's pressing more on the elbows and gloves.
This guy's a real
Oh,
boxer.
right to the body.
He dug a hole into his stomach. That was so hard, that punch. An exciting round there. Chris John perhaps just edging out Tommy Browne, well, probably dominating the round enough to take it 10-9. But Tommy Browne had his moments there, and Jeff, that's perhaps what he needs to do. Just throw everything at him.
Well, that's the only way you're going to beat him. Just hope for a little bit of luck, hope that one big punch lands. But look, the thing about Chris John, what a refreshing thing it is to see this kid, thinking throughout the whole fight, just letting you know that this is not just a tough man sport. It's a sport that if you think and you throw punches low and high, you can be very successful. He's showing that today.
He's really an all-rounder, isn't he? He can do it all, can't he? Great defence, beautiful counter-attack, great jab.
And here was the mini onslaught from Browne. His best moments of the fight so far.
There's not a punch landed there, Matthew.
He's catching a lot of those on the forearms, isn't he?
He is when you look at it in replay.
He comes back with a big right hand to finish.
It'd be interesting to see his punch stats so far.
yeah.
It's going to be amazing, I think, the accuracy level.
One thing we've got to do, guys, we've got to take our hats off to Toddy Maitland. Tommy Browne must be superbly fit to take what he's taken so far and then to come back the way he's come back at the end of that round.
Well, he's all heart, isn't he, Tommy Browne, and he gets that off his trainer. His trainer had a very bad heart condition and had to retire from boxing, but he's certainly instilled a lot of guts and a lot of tenacity in this kid, because Tommy Browne has come here to win. He's behind the 8 ball at the moment, but he's still in there trying that last round. He threw a lot of punches. He's desperate to get through with a big one.
John throws a punch and misses, Browne is not in a position to counter him because of the way that John just seems to have that real ring generalship that the really good fighters have. They're able to know their exact place in the ring at all times.
All right here by Chris John, just go short.
He just hasn't given Browne a moment's respite. The opening bell.
And I suppose we should take our hats off to promoter Tony Caradona for being able to bring this fight into Panthers and let us witness a great young fighter in the making.
It's great to think that we can have great fights like this in the suburbs. Sydney, right in the western suburbs. It's just tremendous. A genuine world-class WBA title fight.
Well, we've got Big Day Chitty on the 24th of August at the Entertainment Centre, so the big fights continue here in Sydney, Australia.
We've got so many great champions here at the moment, it's just tremendous. Now, you were in a bad featherweight yourself, Jeff Fennick.
Not bad.
If you were in there with Chris John, what would you be doing then? What would you do?
It's exactly like I said.
It'd be over by now, wouldn't it, Jeff? You would have knocked him out.
I'm not sure about that.
He's pretty good, this Chris John.
Yeah, you've got to fight fire with fire, and if anything, Tommy Browne that I see, he just lacks that hand speed, and not just hand speed there, but he will punch the gloves and punch the arms. He's not looking for what Chris John's looking for. He's not looking for vacant head or vacant chin or vacant stomach. He's just throwing punches and punches, but he's not trying to land good punches. Look at the difference between Chris John. When he throws a punch, he looks for an open. There you go with the body he hits. He doesn't just throw the punch and land on the arm. Chris John's a classy fighter.
Tommy Browne is still there, and we've just got 20 seconds remaining in round number 6.
And the fight's just taken a dramatic change. Tommy Browne's now going backwards, and Chris John's now walking backwards.
He's landing almost at will with that right hand of the Indonesian champion. I saw Craig Christian urging him to throw over the top with the right, and that's exactly what he did. Up the middle. He's got every punch in the book.
It's just really a question of precision, isn't it? Tommy Browne just hasn't got the precision of his punches that Chris John has. He just hasn't got that ring craft.
Yeah, do you notice that, Greg? Like I said, and nothing against Tommy, but he's throwing punches that are landing on the gloves, and he's content to land on the gloves on the arms, where Chris John, you have a look, you throw one up and throw a straight right to the body, you left around the glove, and that is the big difference at the moment.
He's surrounded by a Seah cornerman there, Chris John, and they'd be pretty happy with what he's done so far. He's certainly well out in front on the scorecards, I would say. We haven't got the official scorecards here, but I just have to say...
Well, I think you've given it a whitewash. Perhaps the first round of Tommy Browne. Yeah. Maybe that was wishful thinking, but he had his moments there in the first, but since then it's been very sporadic for him.
Yeah, I think Chris John went out in that first round, just got his distance, got his timing, and he's just taken the control of the fight after that.
Seconds up.
He's throwing a lot of shots there, Tommy Browne, but they're not landing. They're hitting elbows, they're hitting the top of the gloves. Whereas when Chris John tends to throw them, they tend to hit skin.
And look when he stalks, Chris John's got a beautiful feint, a beautiful balk when he feints and balks. Every time he does it, a punch comes with it. I'm not sure if old Big Tactics watching this fight, Dave, but I'm sure that he'd be enjoying it if he was.
Tommy Browne could do with Big Patrick's punch at this stage because he needs something to turn things around.
Yeah, definitely so.
What chance of Skinny Hussein fighting the winner?
Well, we're talking about it, I'd like to get an opportunity for Skinny, and it would certainly be a difficult fight for Skinny as well, but Skinny has that punch, that body punch, and he has that special bit of power that, Tommy Browne maybe just lacks.
And really, Jeff, at this level, you need that punch to be able to turn a bad situation into a good one. Just keep that in the back of the mind of your opponent at all times.
Especially when you fight somebody as skilled as Chris John. Look at this, you know.
It really is a boxing clinic. And looking very hurt here in the 7th. He's on his bike.
His hands are down now. Chris John's starting to get up there.
It's corner 2 there from Todd Maitland. Chris John perhaps sensing something here.
Well, there's the uppercut. This kid's a great fighter. Tommy Browne's starting to watch him punch around the body from up the middle.
It's been a methodical dismantling by Chris John of the Australian fighter so far.
Look at he's just searching. He's searching around looking for that one big punch. But there's one right there, he just won't throw it. Just taking away there, trying to open that up. Look, there it is.
Using the ring.
Great Christian's calling for the overhand fight. You can't do much of what Christian's doing at the moment.
Just unable to land anything flush at all, too. Flying that left hook. Johnson of desperation late in the fight. And he walks away huge right.
So quick is Chris
He was
John.
lucky that was only a glancing blow in the end.
The crowd willing Tommy Browne on here, but boy, he's really in a desperate situation, isn't he? Every time Tommy throws a punch, the crowd's getting behind him, but he's got to do more than that.
He's got to land, Grantley. He's got to land with something with authority there. He was very, very lucky, like Matthew said, at the end of that round with that right hand just skimmed off his jaw. Oh, there it was. Oh, hit him on the top of the head.
That was a good shot. He's so razor sharp, this guy. He's so precise with his punches. Hardly ever misses.
Get a frame more right hands, mate. Come on.
Landed. They did him close to 100%.
Well, I'll tell you what, it would be the best we've seen in boxing for a long time. I would have no doubt with agreeing with that.
Seconds up.
You know, that assumption is something I'd be very keen to have a look at myself. And usually we see 200 punches, 20 land. He's throwing 200, 180 have landed.
5 rounds to go in this WBA featherweight title fight. Chris John, the red and white trunks versus Tommy Browne, the challenger from Australia, fighting for a world title for the 2nd time this year, having his work cut out against the defending champ. Chris John superbly fit. He hasn't stopped fighting since the opening bell, and he doesn't look like he'd blow out a candle. He really is kicking Tommy Browne apart up the middle. Browne really not throwing anything much in the way of attack now.
Yeah, well, nothing's coming back from Tommy now. That's a sign that he's not only a little bit tired, but yeah, he doesn't really know what to do with it. He's tried, has failed, and Chris Jones is just getting better as the fight goes on.
Beautiful right hand there over the lazy jab of Browne. Seems to have all the time in the world too. Doesn't seem at all concerned about Browne fighting back, because he knows he can use the defense to roll away from the punch. Look at that, thin air, both punches. Again, a left hook there from Browne.
Breaks the back.
And this is all sapping valuable energy from him. And now John, but straight up the middle, lands both punches.
Shoulder, don't play games. Box!
There from the referee, the shoulder from Tommy Browne. He'll do everything he can to try and offset this champion. In a total groove now.
Yeah, with 30 seconds to go in this round. This has been, the worst round of the fight for Tommy Browne. He's had nowhere, nothing coming back. He's throwing a couple of punches now. Well too late.
Have a decent chin, that's for sure. Under 10 seconds remaining here in the 8th.
Oh, what a beautiful combination.
Extra
Brad, need you to work, okay? The only way you're going to win this fight is by knocking him out, okay? There's no shame, okay?
You just got to press forward. I told you.
If you've got a sign you want me to throw it in early, you just drop that hand up and put the hand up in the air, okay? Otherwise, I'm going to throw it in on my own terms, okay?
Scorecard. I've got Chris Browne at 69-64, so the Australian fighter would need a knockout to win this
And I
stage.
think Stanley Christodoulou, being such a great referee, a Hall of Fame, he walked over and said to the guys, listen, either throw some more punches in the turn. This is too one-sided.
For grabs is the WBA Featherweight Championship of the world. Chris John, the defending champion. He's won 3 defences of the title. And his last defended Derek Browne. He's just almost landing at will, Chris John, as he has throughout the contest. Looks very relaxed in the ring. Looks very much at home.
He's trying to set his feet this round, Chris John. He's looking for the knockout this round. Very busy at the start of the round, tapping, trying to open up Tommy Browne.
Continues to absorb an enormous amount of punishment. It's falling almost with him on the ropes.
Even between southpaw there for a minute.
A big right hand finding the mark. Tommy Browne needs to let it all hang out here. It's the only chance he has. He really is in a different league though, the champion. Through the defence of Tommy Browne.
Tremendous right hand again from Chris John.
Yeah, mate, the kid's got it all, mate. He's wide over Tommy Browne at the moment.
John continuing to stalk his man. I'm sure he'd like to score a knockout. Tommy Browne showing tremendous heart and determination, coming back.
Just never stops trying, doesn't he? This kid, we saw that in the fight with Indian Chi. He's always in there trying, but he's just absorbing a steady, slow beating from this classy Indonesian.
This doesn't have the hand speed nor the power to offset the champion in any way, shape or form. You can see there Stanley Christodoulou having a very close look at him.
Yeah, 22 years of age, he really doesn't need to take any more of this fight, I believe, He's got tremendous potential, showed tremendous heart, he's prepared great for the fight, but he's just not in the fight. sure, Grimmy, but you know, if it has, he's certainly starting. Look, he's certainly you know, starting. He's complaining about his ear as well at the moment. I think he just said something to try to make him about something's wrong with the right side of his ear. And honestly, man, it's 22, mate. They should really, you know, just.
Hang on there. Stanley Christodoulou is having a good chat to the corner here.
Going to come out or everything, Tommy. All or nothing, Tommy. All right.
Having a very long chat in the corner.
Yeah, mate.
You look back at some of the action from the night.
Stanley Christodoulou, like I said, he wants the fight stopped. I'm just hoping that, you know, the other guys want the same. He's not going to learn nothing from getting beaten up like this, you know, round after round.
Seconds down. Seconds out.
Looks like he is going to let it continue one more round, but
no, Stanley Christodoulou
has in fact stopped the fight. Well, that was a smart thing to do. Tommy Browne, 22 years of age, and live and learn. He'll live to fight another day, but Chris John just too classy in
just
every
too
respect.
Too consistent. Too many punches in volumes, you know.
Getting embraced there by Craig Christian, Tommy Browne. He's all heart, really tried hard in the fight, but he just didn't have the skill level of Chris John. He just didn't have the punch to turn him back, and he didn't have the precision to land a really good shot on his chin.
Is that Chappelle's Corby lawyer in there with the flag?
I don't think so.
It's a bit like him.
All right.
Anyway.
If he's packing heat, you know it's him.
But anyway, what a great fight we just witnessed, and what a great, you know, champion we just seen in Chris John.
It's all class. Would he beat Injin Chi?
Oh, I have no doubt whatsoever that this kid, you know, has the boxing skills to beat all the featherweight champions out there.
Would it be Pacquiao?
Well, you know, it'd be a very, very tough fight because of the power of Pacquiao. But listen, this kid would certainly give him the fight of his life.
Jeff Bennett?
I'm retired. I'll leave that to you guys to wonder.
He's certainly a class act, and Tommy Browne, we've got to take our hats off to him. All heart, really brave performance, but even though he'd gone the 12 rounds with Injin Chi was much easier to hit. He was in his face, and he wasn't wasting so much energy missing punches as he did against Chris John today. He was missing a lot of punches, and that was really sucking his energy.
The punches of Injin Chi came from around circles, where Chris John just came straight down the middle, precision, timing, speed, and you know, he didn't give a chance to see what was coming.
There it is. He's a real.
Well, he's the ultimate. He's the ultimate professional. Here we go for the official announcement.
Just one more quick great refereeing by Stanley Christodoulou. That's why he's a Hall of Fame.
Fighter unable to come out in the 10th round, and a winner, and still WBA featherweight champion by technical knockout, ladies and gentlemen, Chris John.
So Chris John makes the 4th defence of his WBA belt as it's being strapped around his waist. A very proud champion, a very popular champion back in Indonesia, and I'm sure all the people over there who saw this fight live would be very excited and very proud of this young man. What a gifted fighter he is, and he is no doubt a fighter to watch.
Just let me take this opportunity to say to Sky Channel, this is great for you guys supporting these young kids who really wouldn't get recognition, and everybody in the pubs and clubs, I'm sure, would have enjoyed this today. And money well spent, pubs and clubs out there. Keep supporting Sky Channel and the growth of this boxing at the moment.
Yeah, Jeff, it's very important that we nurture these young fighters along. I mean, Vic Darchinian in a couple of weeks, we're showcasing him, and he is without doubt equally as gifted as this Chris John.
So Sky Channel, the guys who first give Danny Green his chance. So, you know, this is what it's all about.
And I believe they show the Anthony Mundine's pro debut as well. So
that's right, the first 5 fights. We're hoping to get Anthony back on.
I'm sure you will, mate, because like I said, and these guys just don't understand how important it is to have you all on board. Everybody can work together.
Certainly, they all work together there. Great team behind him, Chris John with Craig Christian there. Tremendously well-schooled fighter. They've done a great job preparing this guy. Great performance, and certainly one of the best champions in the.
That's right, folks. Here we go. Chris is obviously going to speak to his country. 37 fights, 36 wins. He continues on. Chris, here we go.
Terima kasih kepada Allah Bapa. Terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada seluruh masyarakat Indonesia khususnya yang berada di tanah air Indonesia. Terima kasih atas dukungan dan doa restunya. Dan juga kepada rekan-rekan dari bangsa Indonesia yang berada di Australia. Terima kasih atas dukungan kalian. Terima kasih, mudah-mudahan saya akan berusaha semampu saya untuk mempertahankan gelar juara dunia ini. Terima kasih. Dan terima kasih juga untuk pelatih saya dan tim semua saya, Craig dan Bob dan yang lainnya.
Of course, his trainer right here.
Yeah, just on behalf of Chris, I'd like to thank everyone in Australia. Tommy Browne, great effort. Big heart, mate. Terrific heart, Tommy. We thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to fight in Australia. And, mate, we'd like to say well done. Fantastic effort, mate. Thank you very much.
It's an awesome effort, awesome effort. As he continues on his merry way, ladies and gentlemen, Chris John, a worthy champion. 37 bouts, undefeated. There he is. Give him a round of applause, please. Actually, you know what, folks? Can we have a quick word to Tommy? I know you want to thank his many fans and friends who come to support him. He's a little disappointed, but I'm sure he can take a lot of pride in what he's done today. Tommy, tough customer.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank Chris Johns, giving me the opportunity to fight for the title. He deserved the win. You know, I moved up junior lightweight and the opportunity come to step back down for the WBA title, and I decided I'd give it one more turn. I really struggled to get down to that weight. I'd like to thank my cornermen, Todd, Jay, Brett, and my dad. Really believe in me, and you know, if I didn't have their support and all my friends that come up from Campbelltown, it'd make it a lot harder for me. I'd like to thank C&D Powder Coating, Ingleburn, Bradbury Inn Hotel. They're great sponsors. All my mates, they come up from Fredbo and all over the place, Campbelltown. I love your support. All the others that come out to support me. Maybe next time I'll get the title, but thank you very much.
Tommy, don't give up in trying to get that title, champ, because you will get it one day. You will get it one day. Continue on. And I'm sure, after watching today, mate, fighting Injin Chai and Chris John, mate, you fought the best of the best. And you hung in there. Don't give up.
Nah, definitely not going to give up, you know. I work so hard for this. And if there's a good fighter out there that wants to fight, I'm willing to take the fight. One more thing before I go. Peter Cusack, it's his birthday today. Happy birthday. And thank you everybody out there. Believe in me. Thank you.
There they are, ladies and gentlemen, worthy champions. Folks, this afternoon's World Championship has been brought to you by